Let's get to our number one storyline. We can talk about this a little bit more at length because it's been viral, Brian. Matthew Boling went 9.98 seconds at a regional race, 4.2 meters per second win, so making it non-win legal, but fastest all conditions time in high school history. Not surprising to you, obviously, but what are some of your thoughts surrounding this big race?
I think the biggest thing is just his progression over this past year. Some athletes don't see this kind of progression ever in their entire career, and they run all 4 years of high school. They run the 100, is where he just really started to run the 100 for high school this year. He's ran 10.28, 10.22, 10.21, 10.20, 10.43. That was a district meet, so we'll kind of call that one, not an off one, but he could run easier and still win. 10.43 with wind. That was the one I was just saying. 10, 10, 11. And then that's 9.98.
Yeah.
That's progression that you see sometimes for guys. They don't see that in 4 years to drop that much time. So
I know I mentioned in our last show that I thought Matthew might be able to shut it down in some of these races and just kind of cruise to win after he gets the lead. You didn't think that would happen.
No.
He obviously didn't do that here. But to run 9.98 after running 10.11, and it's not like these races are close either. He's pulling away after 50 meters.
Pulling away from
after 50 meters.
Very good, strong sprinters. Guys that run 10.2, 10.3. These are legit sprinters that he's pulling away from and just running away with it.
I think a lot of we have the video on
I watched the video about
right?
4 times myself. It was absolutely phenomenal.
It didn't look perfect either. I don't think he reacted first. But one thing he did really, really well is he stayed down in his drive a little bit longer, created so much more power and velocity.
I feel like he just eats up the track. His stride is just he just destroys it and just gets after it.
And after that, he's almost unbeatable. We should talk about the win because the win's the one thing that people have been talking about. Now, if we convert it back to zero win, it would be 10.16, just time itself. And then if you convert it to 2 meters per second, it would be 10.07, which, would be in the territory of Anthony Schwartz last year.
Yeah.
So you can't really argue that this kid is not running fast times. I think, running a sub 10, first time since 2013 that this has happened, only the second time in the history of high school track and field that a boy has gone sub 10, Drayvon Bromell being the last guy to do it. He made history in a weird way because there's a little asterisk around it. So how do you feel about maybe the wind and what this sort of means for the performance?
Yeah, there's an asterisk, but I think you take it, that asterisk, if you even call it that, with a grain of salt. There's meets all over the place that the wind doesn't work out in your favor. In Texas, they do sometimes flip the track to help you with the wind, which I still don't fully understand. But
which they did in this case. They flipped the running of the race.
So you run with some wind, but even though there's a tiny asterisk, I think ultimately this is still one of the greatest performances all time. And this is a great season we're seeing here. I really like to see how he continues to build on this as we go. I think the story, I kind of compared it the other day. We were just talking about this, and Georgia, I think, hit the lottery with him. He was a solid guy before this, running some 45s in the 400, kind of doing his thing. But this year, man, he's now the next. This guy, he's the one everybody's talking about. He's the next, if not right now, the best thing going. And it's just to see how he continues to move forward and progresses once he gets to Georgia, essentially. Now he's got a few more races obviously left in high school. And back a while ago on a couple of shows, I think I said that there's a possibility that he might still lose. And after looking at these performances, I don't think that's going to happen at this point now. It's just he is too good, and he looks like he's far and above everybody else. And what he's been able to do through several rounds of competition is proven to be a great feat.
It'll be pretty hard. He was a blue chip when he signed to Georgia, and now he's obviously the best recruit in the country. The one last thing I think we should talk about briefly is the viral nature of this race. It's not just us reporting on this anymore. It's not just Flow Track. It's USA Today. It's Business Insider. It's all these sites that are trying to grab headlines,
It's
right?
an Italian paper that wrote about it. That was interesting.
No, but talk about the viral nature of something like this. We don't see it often, but I think it's becoming. I don't know. It's hard to talk about because there's negativity surrounding it. People don't want to believe that this kid ran 9.98.
It's on a video. I don't know what to say to that. Go look at the video. Watch the video for yourself. It's on our site. We'll have it right here in the show. Like,
Right.
go watch the video. That's the only thing I can tell him. It's like, what do you think? That video is fake? Like, there's no. You can see him run it the whole time. He pulls away from everybody. It's
Sure. I think it's just, when people see something that they haven't seen before, the impetus is to say that it's not real, right? Or somehow it's fabricated. Matthew Boling's doing things that we haven't seen in some time, and I think it's really on him to kind of absorb this and then just kind of use this to his advantage, because it's really going to build him up. I think it's going to make him stronger to have all of this around him. He's had a wonderful season, and even to have like a morsel of negativity, I think that'll make him stronger when he does race at States and potentially even further.
Yeah, just put the doubters down. And speaking of States, we're going to have that live on MileSplit, not this weekend, but the next weekend. So definitely stay tuned if you don't want to miss Matthew Boling, possibly going maybe a wind legal sub 10. Who knows? It's Matthew Boling.
It's in Texas.
You've seen his progression, so it'll be an interesting race.